Okay, so apparently we're doing this whole segment on, this King of Wand character in through the lens of earth and energy, right? Stability, the root chakra, those portions of the, Da Vinci's man, so to speak, and woman, or whomsoever they, them, zed, zidzer, what have you. Whatever you believe it to be, right? But let's try to look through the lens of the fire element here, because this king is representative of the fire element here as well, with the wand's energy. He's officially the king of the wand, but he carries the sword, right? The magnetic truth. And what we talked about early on was that in order, for the sake of personal stability and being able to achieve, reach, and grow to the heights of what this individual is capable of, the protagonist, the viewer, the reader, the candlestick maker, whoever, this person had to slay the queen proverbially. Okay, the queen could be a mother figure or this feminine energy. It could have been a lover, significant other, what have you. But we spoke specifically to how these things can be done conscientiously with a spiritually inclined way of viewing things, or it could be done ignorantly. For the purposes of this reading, we're talking about the spiritual path. So where things are done, although on the level of perceived foolishness, this fool energy who unwittingly, unknowingly ends up on the path of kinghood, has within him 222 on the clock the moral compass and code and grounding, faithfully kind of implemented by maybe the queen herself, but she has exposed her limitations. And this may even speak to a higher societal implication of who's doing the teaching to the next in line on the throne. And that's a whole other can of worms in the story, which we might round off back to here when we get to more of the emotional component here. The masculine expression of stable emotion that is wont to be taught. Okay. And that's W-O-N-T, not W-A-N-T. Although it may be unconsciously in the psyche of whomever we're referring to. I would say male in this case, but it could be female, and then if you want to play whatever game you want to play. But there is a need for order, let's just say, for the adolescent here. Or the one that's like coming to, as far as what they will inherit, or the helm that they will take upon themselves from their lineage. So let's look a little bit through the lens of the fire, right? Because this is the king of fire after all. Traditionally, he illuminates 4:11 on the clock. That's my birthday, confirmation. He leads, right? It's said that a man leads by the lighthouse of his heart. Okay. The wand is the magician's wand, fully realized. Okay. When it's on fire, the torch to illuminate, right? Opposite the devil card, which chooses to confuse and casts an illusion, a spell. 4:44 on the clock. Now, in the traditional tarot, we don't see a lit torch being held by the king. In some of the tarot that I do practice, with another deck. Specifically the Tattooed Tarot by Lana Zellner. I always shout her out. The king is illuminating the world with a wand that's on fire. Meaning he's in his full magnetic power. He understands his role as the authority to author the autobiographical implication that is how his story ends, right? And we've been talking about that thematically. As our story in life is either a comedy or a tragedy, and you're never too old and it's never too late to write the happy ending. And you have everything at your disposal here and now to do that. Let's see. So the King of Wands is looking over the Nine of Swords, which is traditionally a weeping woman. So we have another example of the emotional element here. This time provoked by the storm that's going on, right? The swords are thoughts. The thoughts are electrical. So this is quite literally a storm, an electrical storm. But right now we're looking at the lens of the fire aspect here. Okay. Now, this entity, whoever it is, as the expression in the external world, as a character in your life, or another variation of yourself, is a ship at sea, right? We are all captains of our own ship, and as we move through life, we're moving through admiralty law, maritime law. And so this entity unto itself is a ship. Okay. When you're born, you're birthed to the dock, to the doctor. Okay, so you're docked. In Black's Law, a legal dictionary edition, a person is technically a sea monster, right? But for the sake of what we're speaking to, we are captains of our own ship. That's why you're always in a relationship. That's why you're always all these words with ship at the end of it. But for the purposes of what we're talking about energetically, esoterically, this king illuminates from the heart space as a lighthouse for this person to dock or come on board with what this King of Wands either has to teach or is about, or their way of being. This King of Wands can be a teacher to the Nine of Swords. And yes, you can be a teacher to your parents and your elders as well. Doesn't matter what your age is. And so this could be the dynamic in the relationship. If this isn't a literal external expression of a character in your life, typically feminine, okay, channeling D minor vibes, forlorn woman crying vibes. In music, it's the D minor. It might be something else technically, but just going off of the mood and the expression of the sound of the chord in music. Or this could be the internal expression of the self. So the fire component is the lighthouse, and I might make a part 2 because I'm already at the 10-minute mark. Or you know what? I'll just make this really long. If I get interrupted, then I'll move on. Or then I'll know to move on. So the fire in this story that we're building here is the lighthouse. Okay, and the ranking is the king, so we know it's high, at high elevation in the hierarchy, like the height of a lighthouse. So whether this is the internal expression of yourself or quite literally a character in your life in an external expression, then you are guiding them to the heart, to the lighthouse, showing them the way of the heart. Now this sword, just so we're calling out the elements, this could actually be a lightning rod as well, a conductor, a conduit. And he's pointing north to true north, Polaris, the North Pole, whatever you want to call it. The highest of highs, right? Heaven is up, hell is down. And so ideally he's in union with the divine to channel 1, 2, 3 on the clock. The highest coordinates or trajectory. I find myself often actually saying the phraseology of the highest of highs when I'm praying, when I'm doing mantras, tuning in to the highest of highs. You could call it something else. You could call it God, the universe, the cosmos. And this possibly is your ethical code, your expression as well, right? Think of a compass points to magnetic north. And so because this is in line with his magnetic code, he wants to be someone that finds the highest illumination for himself and then helps others. That might be lost at sea, shipwrecked, or in an electrical storm. Gemini energy, remember the swords are thoughts, the thoughts are electrical. We need to ground them. How do we ground them? We use the earth, fire, the wand. And then not for nothing, when you're sailing, you're using the wind, the air, to cast your sails and be taken away. Now we're looking through the lens of the fire. The fire is the illumination, Promethean, that's coming through as knowledge that's been channeled. When lightning strikes the bark of a tree, the tree goes on fire. Okay, so similarly, when knowledge of self or the expression of the self as the highest of highs hits in this realm, in the 3D, then you are ignited, you are inspired. You're on fire. And not for nothing, I was breaking up the Latin word yesterday of pirate. Well, it started with the word conspiracy, because I was thinking, well, you know, we're doing a lot of conspiracy in this day and age. Maybe we need to write that word into a prospiracy. So it's in my favor. Like paranoia to pronoia, it's in my favor. So this whole jag that I was on yesterday about piracy, prospiracy, you could get the root word of pirate, which, like a pyre, could be related to fire. Okay. But there's a lot of translations that you could do when translating from Latin, right? If you type in Google Translate the word from English to Latin, for pirate, you could even get I love you out of pirate, depending on how you space the word out, pirate. I believe it's pirate, P-I-R-A space T-E is I love you. That's pirate. So it just depends on how you're breaking it down, right? Also, I got let it burn and it will grow. Okay? From slash and burn. Or that made me, I believe that made me think to slash and burn. And then I also got some kind of interpolations of it, or interpretations of it, to be sharp and burning, flaming sword. So the more that you try to break down the word and you flip the translations, it all changes. And one of those that I got was flaming sword. And what are we talking about now? We're talking about the lightning hitting the wand to ignite your wand in this almost like Promethean way. So you're a pirate at sea or a captain at sea, right? That might be the next word that I try to break down, captain. But flaming sword is one that I got from the play on words pirate. So I got conspiracy, con is a negative, and I thought, let's do prospiracy. But then I thought of the root piracy, right? Con, piracy, pyre. And then that's what led me to fire. And then I was just playing a lot with the words and flipping it. So some of the things that I got that the Google spat out to me was I love you, let it burn, and it will grow. And then that made me think of slash and burn technique, I believe. And then also I got to be sharp and burning. I got flaming sword. I believe it's like flamium galadium or something like that. My flame has been burning for a long time. That's another thing that I got. And then that makes you think of eternal flame. So the act of tuning into the divine, this is something that has been going on since ancient times. And I think that was actually another word that I got from it is the word ancient. So this has been going on for a long fucking time, needless to say. I know we know that, but we probably forget it. So whatever life path you're on, don't worry, because it's played out in perpetuity through eternity in different expressions. But for the sake of what we're looking at now, this is quite literally that flaming sword that we're speaking to. So your thought is this kind of conducting rod to be struck by lightning, which is the divine, right? We're tuning in to it. We're channeling with frequency. And this is all stuff that we've spoken to before as well on this channel, right? Especially when we take from the minds of Bruce Lipton and Dr. Joe Dispenza, when he talks about the quantum field, and then we get into manifestation. But this could possibly be manifestation from the place of inspiration. Now, something interesting that where we find ourselves is that we may very well likely be in the moment of where these things become a choice. I choose to be inspired. I choose to be motivated. That might very well be the nexus of where our being is from, right? We get into free will. God loved us so much that He gave us free will. Real love is based on free will. Whether it's agape, platonic, romantic. So we're working with a lot of irons in the fire here, pun intended. And I suppose the pirate at sea here, or the captain at sea here, well, traditionally, what are captains of pirate ships, or what are pirates looking for? They're looking for the treasure, you know? And the king is the king because he's in commune with the divine, and he knows that he's not separate from the divine. So, as Muji says, the realization that you are the universal gemstone, you are that which you seek, right? And that's what this King of Swords is pointing, either to the lower version of himself, the internal expression of himself that still dwells and dabbles in the Nine of Swords, the crying woman, the sad woman, or even an actual character in his external life. Trying to think of any more fiery components here that we could speak to. Fire is passion, fire is warm. All attributes and characteristics that the king could be described as this king of wands, right? The wand is fire. It's also luminary, illuminating. And it lights the way, it lights the path through the through the lighthouse of the heart, as informed or in commune with the highest of highs. But it can only be so because this king is in proper alignment with his roots as well. He can only withstand the lightning strike because of his groundedness. Which credit can be given if this is a mother figure to her, or a father figure, if they've helped him in this way. And so this person could be choosing to help them back. He can sustain this information because he's just firmly rooted and grounded. And even more so to the extent that he could see the con, he could see the fake, that some of these swords might 2222 on the clock. As I say this, he can see the truth because he carries the truth. And so when these swords are overwhelmed, it's because what respectively should have been grounding these electrical components, these electrical elements, maybe they've been corrupt. Maybe they've been dug up. Maybe they're purposely being pulled up. The carpet being pulled out from under you, so to speak. And this king is saying, no, I have the one true sword here. Because it points to true north. These are all facades. You only need your one true north sword. The spade is a sword, by the way. Okay. If that hopefully ties that together for you. And not for nothing, but we got a lot of water imagery in the general reading, which I wrote in the comments of the live stream on the YouTube. The Ace of Swords in the upright, the Six of Swords in reverse, a lot of seafaring imagery. Six of Swords is individuals on a boat, literally. So we're cooking with gas here. Anything else is, of course we have the Four of Swords here, which is rest, recovery, coming back, having docked safely after battle. If this is war at sea. And this could have been you at one point. But you took and found the one true sword of true north, which never abandons you. And now you're armed with it for life. And you might be at a place where you see completely through all the bullshit. You know, 20/20 vision on your third eye, proverbially. It's something that I heard earlier. And so now you carry your sword of truth here. And you've even integrated leaving these swords as well, or whichever ones, so that you only have one true one. Anything else for this fire spirit? We spoke to how it's a luminary, warm, life-sustaining, passion inspired by the divine, action, taking action, helping those that the king sees are on the path, on the right path, on the path of truth, a truth seeker. Very lovely. Anything else with the fire action? Can help others on their path because he saw himself in that position as well at one time. So the both helping of the self so as to now be able to help others, like a very Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad. Let me free myself so I could go back and free others. Possibly from the Matrix, right? We talked about freeing ourselves from Rhea, the evil mother, right, of Hercules. I believe it's Rhea. And in all like these kind of Freudian expressions, if you've had that individual in your life or what have you, an overbearing girlfriend, whoever, spouse, not necessarily gender specific. All right, let's roll this on over to the water aspect of this kind of water theme here. Water world, if you will. All right.